All right, we're live. I love being live. It's so fun and fresh and exciting, and anything can happen. So, we are live from Zoom and we are live from YouTube and Instagram and all the places. So, today we are going to be focused on accounts and passwords. I get asked about password managers all the time. And so today we're really focusing on, just to not waste your time, we're really going to focus on the Apple Password Manager. So if you have Android, if you have a PC, I'm sorry, today's class is not for you, but I will come back in about a month or so and I'll talk about 1Password. 1Password is a little advanced for those who have Apple devices, who are just getting started with password managers, but 1Password is great for that sort of like interoperability, as they call it. So if you use Chrome, if you use, which I may convince you to switch today to Safari if you're on a Mac. If you use Chrome, if you use a PC, if you use an iPhone, you have like a kind of a hodgepodge combination of things. 1Password is going to be your way to go. But today we're going to focus on Apple passwords. So let's get started. The tools you will need are either your phone, your iPad, your Mac, one of those at the very least, or all three. We're not going to get the Apple Watch involved. I generally don't do passwords on watches because generally we don't need them. But today I'm going to show you how to set up Apple Password Manager on your Mac, your iPhone, and then by proxy, your iPad will be the same as an iPhone. And I'm going to get into the plan B when the password manager doesn't work. And then the other tools that you'll need is an open mind, confidence, courage, and just, the readiness to take this on. And forgive yourself, give yourself grace, and know that it's not going to be a perfect process out the gates. Nothing is. But the password manager is there so to replace your scraps of paper, your passwords in multiple different places. And a lot of my clients will keep passwords in their notes app. Another client was a Word document on her computer. I'm trying to get you away from that and into better habits and a one place that you can confidently say, these are where my passwords are stored. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here and clean things up. All right, so now you should see my screen, big old Secretary's logo. So the first thing I want you to take note of is my dock at the bottom. So my dock doesn't have any my dock is kind of cropped, isn't it? Yeah, let's do that so you can see better. Okay, so my dock at the bottom, I have no password icons. And if you're in that same position, then I'm going to help you get there. So I want to kind of get you prepped so you have all the tools you need, and then we'll dive right in. So first things first, you have to check your Mac. You're going to go up to the Apple in the upper left corner, and you're going to go to System Settings. There we go. And then in System Settings, hit on About. Looks like we're kind of frozen here. Hold on. Let me quit. You know what? I have Claude open. Let me quit that. There, we should be back in business now. Okay, let's start again. All right, we're going up to the Apple, and let's actually go to About This Mac. And once you have About This Mac open, what you're looking for is the Mac OS. I want you to be on 15 or later, or it also says Sequoia or Tahoe. Either one of those will work. And the reason for that is because when Sequoia came out, Apple introduced the Apple Password Manager on the Mac. And so then you have a password app on your Mac, you have a password app on your phone that's identical. Prior to that, you don't really have that. So first we got to get you upgraded. And so if you're not upgraded, take the time now, back up your computer, do any kind of cleanup and do your upgrade. And if you need support, you can reach out to me directly. Okay, we're on Sequoia. Next, go to Finder in the bottom left, and then go to your applications. If for whatever reason you don't see applications, come up to the Finder at the top, go to Settings, and then make sure that Applications is turned on. A lot of times people will lose their applications and it's just hiding in the background. All right, in Applications, we're going to go all the way down to, you guessed it, Passwords. And we're going to drag passwords to the dock. So take the time now and drag passwords to the dock. All right, that sets us up for success. Now the thing to note is this passwords app is always here, but it also only autofills in Safari. So if you're not using Safari, I also want you to get Safari going. So let's go back into Finder, go to our applications, and then go down to Safari and drag Safari down. And there isn't really any huge difference between Safari and Chrome. A lot of people think because they use Gmail, they have to be on Chrome. You don't necessarily have to. And if you need to, you can always Google how to import bookmarks from Google Chrome into Safari. But I want you to be on Safari so this works really well. So let's get started. So open your Passwords app and either use your Touch ID or your computer password and open it up. Do you see anything there? A lot of people often have a lot of logins hanging out in there. And so what you can do as a first step is you can delete anything that you don't want in here. If there are passwords that you can see that you don't want, you can just select it and hit the delete key on your keyboard and delete it. And so you can actually go through and delete things that you don't need, you don't want. That's a good first step because then you're starting with a good, fresh canvas. If there's nothing in here, great, no problem. And then you're probably asking yourself, how did they get in here? They got in here because you said, yes, please save the password. You got a pop-up that said, do you want me to save it? And you said yes, either on your phone, your iPad, or your Mac, and that's how it got here. And so when we're in the Passwords app, what I like about the Passwords app is that you can do a lot of cleanup, like you've already seen. You can also edit things. So sometimes when and we'll go through this, but sometimes when you go to update a password or save a password, sometimes it doesn't quite work out as expected. And so we may need to do some cleanup. We may need to search, for example, because it got saved in a weird way. Sometimes you'll see it'll get saved as www.amazon.com, right? So we actually have, if I were to look at my list and look for my Amazon password, it wouldn't be there because it'd be all the way down at the bottom alphabetically under www. So we're going to keep in mind that we have to take control of the title. We have to use search. And we have total control in here to do what we want to do. So I would just edit this again and give it the name Amazon or Amazon.com, whichever works for you. So that's what we can do in here. The other thing we can do is, let's say you have a big list of passwords and you just want to jump in and get started. You can hit the plus sign at the top, put in the name of the website. So I'm just going to call this test website. Put in your username, put in whatever password it is, put in any notes and save it. Now, the only downside to doing it this way is that it's not going to collect the website and the password manager isn't going to know what website you're on to be able to autofill the password. So the only time this really works is if you have a ton of passwords, you just want to get them in here. Usually what I advise people to do instead, let me delete this, is just start logging into your favorite websites that like you normally do, and the password manager will ask you to save it each time. So you're going through one by one, maybe 2, 3 a day, and saving it slowly to the password manager. Now you're just saving it. You're not resetting the password yet. Let's talk about some other prep that you'll have to do. Because I ran into this the other day with a client where the passwords weren't auto-saving, auto-filling. So I want to check out your settings. So first thing is we're going into Safari. We're going to go to Safari in the upper left, go to settings. And this is just like the nitty-gritty stuff so that you don't get thrown off. Bear with me here. So we're in settings. We're going to go to autofill. Make sure in autofill that all of these are checked. You can choose to, uncheck like using information from contacts, but I think overall having all of these checked is super helpful. Then I want you to close this up. Oh, actually, no, I want you to go to general and set Safari as your default browser. So we're just going to hit set default and use Safari. If it's Firefox or Chrome or something else, now it's going to be set to Safari, which can be really helpful moving forward, because when you click a link in an email or something, it'll automatically open in Safari and then take you to your login page. So it's just going to make things smoother overall. You can always go back to Chrome, but I think it'll just be harder with using this password manager. So stay here in Safari and send me a comment or an email if you get stuck. The other thing you want to do for setup, back in our passwords app, I want you to go into passwords in the upper left, and we're going to go into the settings for the passwords app. And most likely this will automatically be set up for you, but you want it to say save passwords and ask when signing in. If it says do not ask, that's not helpful for you, because then it won't automatically offer to save new passwords. So you want that there. And then let's also, if you'd like, you can say show passwords in the menu bar. That just means up here, it's going to give you an icon for it. I don't have enough room for another icon, so that's why I turn it off. But that's like a shortcut for you. And you'll probably get something like this, like I just got in the upper left corner of my screen, or upper right corner of my screen. That's fine. Passwords hanging out in the background is okay. And then you want detect compromised passwords, suggest strong passwords, and allow automatic passkey upgrades. All of that is great. And then show accounts as titles. I think all those settings are perfect. Okay, so we've got our settings set up on our Mac. We've got the general gist of this password app. Let's see this in action. Okay, so first thing I want to show you is how it's going to behave saving passwords. And like I said, have courage and just dive in. So I'm going to go to Amazon.com. And of course, Amazon has me signed in. So I'm just going to sign myself out. And now I want to see what it offers me. So take a look at the lay of the land here. So I've got a few things being offered to me: a saved pass key, another saved pass key, my emails, and then the word passwords. Every website should give you some version of this. Whenever you click inside the box to log in, you'll have some kind of suggestion here. And if that doesn't show up, you have the key on the right side. So today, for example, a client of mine, we went to Bank of America and there was no drop down. Nothing came up. So we hit the key and sure enough, the information was there. So you'll notice case by case, each website, just to give you a little background, each website is programmed differently, right? It's run by a different company. They have a different relationship with Apple case by case. So have patience with that and just know that sometimes it's going to perfectly work. Other times it might be a little more clunky and you have to do an extra click. But you always have this key here for you. So now, because I have a pass key saved, I'm going to give that a try. And notice the icon here, that's the same as down here. So whenever it asks you to save a passkey, you can go ahead and save it. It's just a passkey is like a digital key that saves to your computer and also saves to the passwords app, so that whether you're on your phone, your iPad, or your Mac, you can get in, use that password key. It's like a passwordless, or that passkey, it's a passwordless way of signing in. It's like two-step verification and password combined. It's pretty nifty. All right, so I'm going to use my Touch ID. And then see how the passkey automatically just advance me to the next page. I fill in the password and I'm in. So that's probably the smoothest it's going to go. It's not always going to be perfect, like I said, but that's how it should work. Now, if I wanted to reset a password, let's talk about that real quick. Let's say I didn't know my password. I could click on the, any combination of things. It'll say need help or forgot password or something like that. So I'm going to click on need help. I'm going to say I forgot my password. And they're going to take me to a page. Like every website's a little bit different. And so you just follow along with the instructions they're giving you. But the magic comes in when you actually have to reset the password. I'm going to go grab that code from my phone. Okay, here we are. So we're on the create a new password page, and this is awesome. So when I click inside this field, sometimes it'll automatically show me a strong password. Other times I'll have to click the key. So as long as you remember key, then you will always remember how to do this. All right, same thing on your phone, which I'll show you in a moment. All right. So if I click the key, I get two choices, passwords and suggest a new password. Well, I need a new password, so I'm going to click suggest a new password. It fills in a new password. Magic, absolute magic, right? We don't need to know what the password is. We don't need to remember it. We don't need to write it down. All we need to make sure of is that the website that you're resetting it has the password, so they know it. We're going to save and sign in a second, and they'll know it. But then after that, we need to make sure we get a little pop-up that says save password. And that's coming from the password manager. So you have two people essentially in charge. Every time you reset a password, you've got the website and you've got the password app. You just got to keep in mind those are the two places that need to update it. And it's once you have that, it'll be smooth sailing. So save and changes and sign in. Now I'm looking for a pop-up. I didn't see a pop-up. Why didn't I see a pop-up? Well, maybe Amazon doesn't have a great relationship with Apple. It doesn't matter. The point is, I know where to find it. Because I use the passwords app to generate a password, it's going to be in there. I just need to make sure it has my correct username and the website. So I'm going to go down. Each time you reset a password, I want you to double check this. You go down to the passwords app, sign in with your computer password or your Touch ID, and then don't scroll down. Search for the website. In this case, it's Amazon. Now, take a look at this here. It says one recently generated password. Well, that's my password that I just generated. But these other ones are not going to, well, this is my other account. But this one is the passkey. It doesn't even have a password to it. So I'm going to leave that. But down here where it says recently generated password, I'm going to click it and I'm going to hit save. What that does is it's going to make sure that it saves it in my list and then it fills in next time. Oh, wrong username. Hold on. There we go. And look at that. It combined with my passkey. So again, we use search because the password manager saved it, but it didn't quite save it all the way. And again, that's unexplainable, a weird tech thing, but just so you know what it is and you can find it. And once you've done that, now the Amazon password's saved. And then when I go into Amazon, there it is, new password. I use my Touch ID to fill it in. I'm actually going to skip the passkey so you can see my password in action. So you get something like this with the little key. It fills it in. And I sign in. Yay! And that's fine. I'm just going to cancel that. So we have successfully reset a password on the Mac, and I showed you how to find when it doesn't say, hey, can I save the password for you, how to find it in your password manager. So you always are going to come in here. and do a little cleanup. Make sure the password manager has the correct password. That also gives you a sense of control and ownership. You're like, yes, I know it's done. It's in there. You can even see a date, which is great. Last modified today. Perfect. I'm happy with that. Next, I think what we want to do is move to the phone. So I'm going to show you my phone, and we're going to take a look at how this works there as well. Actually, no, back up for a second. I want to show you when the rare occasions when you need to copy a password. So there may be unique cases where you get to a website, you go to sign in, and for the life of you, it just will not show this dropdown. For whatever reason, the website is treating the password manager like a robot or some attacker, and so it's just not autofilling. So what do you do in that case? Well, you can do the classic type in. We're pretending it's not dropping down, by the way, because I don't have a live example because it's so case by case. Cancel this. Now, let's pretend it's not showing that box. Here's what you do. You simply mosey on over to your passwords manager, come on over to whatever website it is, find that, and then I'm going to hover over the password, click on it, and it's going to copy it magically. And then I'm going to go back to the website and I'm going to paste it in. Command V, or some people do come up to edit and they hit paste, however you want to do that. But I want you to know that you always have that security. You never have to type in a password. You can always copy and paste it. Same thing is true like when you get your ask for your Apple password. It doesn't really like to autofill, so you can just come over, hover over the dots, click the password, and then paste it in wherever you need. Okay, that's the final thing. Now let's move to our phone. All right, we're doing desk view. You get to see my nice nervous system wallpaper. Okay, so let me move this over. Okay, so be my best friend and just use search for everything, okay? We're gonna search and we're gonna type in the word passwords. You see it comes up. I use 1Password, but I'm a techie. Ignore 1Password. We're gonna go to, look, the same icon that we saw on our Mac, passwords. And now it's gonna ask for Face ID. If you don't have Face ID, you can turn it on in settings, but we're not gonna cover that today. Now we're in almost an identical view of what you saw on my Mac. So it's almost identical. Look, I have search at the bottom. So I can search for Amazon. And here I am. And I can see modified today. Now, if I went to Amazon, again, I'm using search. Let me sign myself out just so you can see this in action. Okay, I'm going to add an account. And then look, I get a billion different Amazon, a billion and one different Amazon things. But maybe you don't. Let's back up for a second. Because on the Mac, I showed you all this setup stuff, but on the phone, it felt like, oh, it's kind of magical. But maybe you don't have the passwords app, maybe you don't have things auto-filling. So let's double check a few settings. You like my royal cooking game? I love this silly like puzzle games. Side note, total side note. Okay. Again, be my best friend. Go to search at the bottom and we're going to go into settings. Now, the things you want to check is you want to check your iCloud. So you're going to go to your name at the top. Follow along with me. Do this with me. It takes 2 seconds and it'll be done. Here we go. Oh yes, we're going to iCloud. And then, don't worry about all the rest of the stuff. We're focused on passwords. So I want you to go to passwords and make sure sync this iPhone is on. Now, if you have an iPad, you're gonna have to take a moment to do the same thing on your iPad. Go to settings, go to your name. I'll back up here. Go to your name, go to iCloud, and then go to passwords. You're gonna get very comfortable with settings after working with me. That's for sure. Settings is my best friend too. All right, let's go back. Now, next thing you want to do is you want to search at the very bottom for the word autofill. Okay, and you'll start to see autofill and passwords, which is at the top. Let's go there. And we want to make sure that passwords is turned on. Now, again, I have 1Password, so I'm leaving that on. But really, for your purposes, you only want passwords turned on in green. And you want this autofill passwords and passkeys turned on at the top too. Last thing we want to check, we're going to clear the search there and type in default. And you see up here, default apps. We're going to change the default browser app to, you guessed it, Safari. Okay, that'll make sure everything works flawlessly. I'm just going to go take myself back out and clear the search so that I'm back where I started. The last thing I want you to do, very, very last thing, it probably already happened, but this is a good check. Let's check our operating system on our phone. So I'm going to go to General, Software Update. And what I want you to do is check, first of all, run your updates. If you have any updates, it's good for security. I'm going to do a quick check, and I want to make sure you're on 25 or later. The reason for that is it's going to make sure that your Mac and your iPhone flawlessly sync together. So you see here I'm on 26, so that's great, but you could be on 25 or later. I think 25, maybe 26. Let me double check that. Maybe there is no 25, I just made that up. Let's see. Yeah, okay, Apple never released 25. They jumped from 18 to 26. Make sure you're on iOS 26 or later. The reason for that is it's just going to make it easier for the iPhone and the Mac to get along. And if you need any support after upgrading, things look a little bit different, I'm happy to help you. All right. Now we're in business. Again, let's go to search. Let's go to passwords. Use our face. Okay, the lay of the land in here. We already looked at search. All is everything. Passkeys we talked about. Codes, we're going to skip that for now. We're just going to do SMS codes. We're not going to use codes. Wi-Fi is every single Wi-Fi password you've ever saved in your entire life. Security is anything that is compromised. So like my old Instagram password, I need to get rid of that actually. Yeah, but address anything in security, that's for sure. And then this is really forgiving. They have a trash can. So if you accidentally delete something, you can bring it back. Say I wanted this, I can click on it and recover it. So there are no mistakes that you can truly make that you can't get out of. Shared groups, we're not going to cover that today, but you can share passwords with family and friends, which is awesome. What does the 3 dots do? Nothing. Okay, great. And of course, you can make folders for if you're an organized person, you want to make folders for your passwords, you can. Okay, let's go back to that Amazon example. You're set up on your phone. You can do the same thing on your iPad. You're all set up. You can obviously move the passwords app to your main page. You don't have to use search. I just love using search. But if you go all the way to the end, it should be right there. You touch and hold on it. And then you want to say add to home screen. And then here it is. And I can always touch and hold on it again, keep holding, and I can move it to the edge. I'm using my pointer finger because I think that's the most successful with this. Come on, buddy. There you go. There we go. And then done. All right. Now, our example that I wanted to show you, and this is going to be true of all websites, I'm going to show you on Amazon. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on Amazon, you're on Nordstrom, you're on Chase Bank, it doesn't matter where you are, this is going to work the same. So I'm going to open Amazon as an example. Now, does this look familiar? It's just like how we had on the Mac. We're going to go here. And in this case, I'm going to hit the key because that's actually not the login that I want. I'm going to hit the key. And then it's going to give me a ton of options. In my case, it's a ton of options. Maybe in your case, it's not. But you want to choose the option. I'm going to go to passwords. Actually, let me turn off 1Password for the moment because I think that's going to make our demo better. So just give me a second. I'm going into autofill and I'm actually going to just turn off 1Password. Yeah, let's make our demo flawless. Okay. This is what you should see. So notice how it says password for Amazon. Now it's not going to show me the password. It's just going to show me my username. And so I can either touch that or I can touch the key. Remember our buddy, the key? Now on the iPhone and the iPad, it's, tiny. So it's down here. It's not going to be up here. It's down here on top of the keyboard. So just note where it is and know that it'll always be there. And then hit the key if you don't see your username and password. Let's say it's hiding. You can always find it down here. You can search for it. But in this case, I'm just going to hit on it. It's going to fill it in for me. I'm going to hit continue. And then in this case, it has a passkey saved for me, which is awesome. And I can just say use passkey and sign in. But I want to show you the password situation. Again, see there, password for Amazon. Tap that. It fills it in perfectly. And then I sign in. And then, of course, I get, my verification code. And I sign in. And that's going to be true of everything you use on your phone. You're looking for that key, like I was showing you before. The key is everything. Oh, what did it do? Hold on. There we go. This key is everything. It'll change your world. Now, one last thing I want to show you. Sometimes it doesn't fill in. We gotta do the copy paste. I gotta show you copy paste. Just as easy as on the Mac. So I go to passwords, I show up my face, or I put in my passcode, and I'm gonna search for Amazon. And again, like copy and paste is really gonna probably only come up with your Apple password, which is so funny because it's, it's an Apple product. But here's what I would do. Same thing as on the Mac. I would just open this up, tap on the password, and it gives me the option to copy. Done. Now I can go back in. And if you don't do this, this is my everything. I love this little app switcher where you swipe up slow from the bottom, you let go, and you can just go back to the app you were in before. So that's a bonus tip for you. All right. So let's just say I didn't get anything here, no key or anything. You probably will rarely see this. But what you're going to do is just simply type in the old-fashioned way. And then I copied the password. So what do? I paste it just by tapping inside here, tapping again, and I hit paste. Okay, so you always have that recourse. You don't have to, obviously, if it shows up here, but if it doesn't work, you could always copy and paste and sign in, which I'm not going to do right now. All right. Well, there you go, my friends. There is your demo of passwords. Front to back, Apple passwords, right to left, top to bottom. We really covered, I think, all of the situations that you could potentially get in with the Apple Password Manager. And again, come back with me in a month, just about a month. In June, I'm going to be covering 1Password. So if that's something you're more interested in, why don't you dive in, install it, make a little bit of a mess, and then come back to my class and ask questions. I would love that. I absolutely love it when people just dive in and you give me real world examples that I can work with and we can untangle together. And in the meantime, please be kind, be patient, and restart. Thanks for watching. Oh, and go to learn.techretaries.com if you want to see replays and all that stuff from past classes. And if you want to sign up for a live class and like join live with your audio and ask live questions, you can always find me on techretaries.com. I'll show my screen. This is the Cyber Self-Defense course hub. You've got tons of courses in here. They all kind of repeat. We do the 4 different themes, but I add on a little bit. You can also do the Cyber Self-Defense Pack, and that's a 4-week replays with printable guides and bonus videos. So you get a lot of content in here. So if you're wanting to do a deep dive, you can. If you want to do private coaching, I've got a little button up here. You can always do a cyber self-defense, power hour with me and jump on in. I've got times available all the time throughout the week. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Very grateful for you. And be kind, be patient, restart, my friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.